I'm Eunice Russell, the How-To Guru, here to share with you the art of getting it done. In today's segment, we're going to talk about repairing your credit. There are hundreds of websites on the internet with people purporting to be able to repair your credit. And they can. Some legally, some not so legally. But I'm going to show you how you can do it yourself. No cost, low cost. Just follow the instructions here and you can get your credit repaired. Now, there are certain principles you have to learn to practice in keeping your credit score up, such as timely paying your bills. And then there's a little trick of, instead of making a minimum payment, make the minimum payment or a little more, and then wait a week or two and make another payment. And that records differently on your credit report and can raise your credit score. So there are a number of little tricks to it. But we're going to take a look at right now. We're going to jump right into this PowerPoint. And if you follow us to the end, there'll be a website where you can get more information on repairing your credit. And please remember to subscribe to the How-To Guru on YouTube. So let's get started. Credit plays a role in everything we do, from obtaining employment to renting an apartment or applying for a mortgage. Your credit score determines how much you're going to have to pay in interest. The lower your score, the higher the interest, the more costly it is to you. There are hundreds of credit reporting agencies. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian are known as the Big Three. And their guidelines are under the Federal Fair Credit Reporting Act. I would suggest that you take a look at it. It's cited here on the PowerPoint. Go and just take a quick look at it. You can Google it. It tells you, it outlines exactly what credit reporting agencies can report on your credit history and the options and things that you can do, the notices they're supposed to send you. A lot of laws have been enacted, but because we the people don't really know about them or we're not following them, some of these companies and agencies, they skip over things. And the longer they do it, the better they get at it, and the less we know about our rights. So it's really important to know your rights. So I would take a look at the Federal Fair Credit Reporting Act. And that could be found at 15 United States Code, page 1681. And any law that's referred to in this PowerPoint would be state law. And another thing, nothing on here is supposed to be deemed as legal advice. Everything on here is public information and you can go and look it up for yourself. We're going to start with Equifax. It is the oldest of the Big Three credit reporting agencies. Headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, they provide one free credit report per year. TransUnion is the smallest of the Big Three credit reporting agencies, headquartered in Chicago, Illinois, and they also provide one free credit report per year. Experian, the mid-sized credit reporting agency, is headquartered in Costa Mesa, California, and they also provide one free credit report per year. Now, step one is to obtain your credit report. Again, I said that the Big Three all provide one free credit report per year. But if you're denied credit, whatever agency that the creditor used to look at your credit, they have to send you, that agency has to send you a copy of the credit report so that you'll know what was on it and what was held against you. And from the Big Three, if you've already obtained your free credit report, you can pay $8 or maybe up to $12 now. It varies from state to state for a copy of your credit report. Step two is understanding your credit report. Now, they're usually very easy, and there's usually a legend or something that will tell you what the abbreviations and things are. But if you still don't understand your report, you should be able, there's a contact number on the credit report where you can contact the credit reporting agency, and they, by law, are mandated to help you or have somebody sit down with you, whether it's on the phone or through the internet, and explain to you or answer any questions about your credit report. Step 3 is disputing items on your credit report. Now we're going to show you further on in the PowerPoint how to dispute an item and how to add a consumer statement, and I'll explain what those two things are. But you have a right to dispute anything that's on your credit report that you don't agree with, or that's older than a certain period of time. So let's jump right into it. Obtaining your credit report for free is there's a website that all 3 of the credit reporting agencies link into, and they'll give them all 3 to you at one time. And if you go to the end of the PowerPoint, there's a link there that will explain everything in relation to that. But you can also obtain a credit report by writing Experience TransUnion or Equifax, telephoning them, or doing it online on the internet. All creditors don't use the same credit reporting agency. That's why it's important for you to get all 3 of the big 3. Because as I said earlier, there are hundreds of credit reporting agencies. So let's say the person that you're going to try to obtain credit from, you're trying to buy a new car. Well, they may not use one of the big 3. They may use a smaller agency who gets their report from the big 3. Well, when they do that, that report may come down through TransUnion, but it may not show the same thing. Items may not show on Equifax or Experian. So it's important to get all 3 of your credit reports. And again, if you don't understand what's on your report, whatever agency produced that report is mandated to help you understand the report. Now, your credit history is a record of how you paid your bills and handled your financial obligations. Some of the information is reported by various creditors, or some information is public information, like bankruptcies, judgments, anything that's in public record. There's a section on your credit report about things in the public record about you. Your credit history can include up to 7 years of your payment history, and that information includes how those payments were made, if they were made monthly, if they were made on time, if they were late, how often they were late, like were you 30, 60, 90, 120 days late, if the account was discharged because you never paid it, what your balances are, whether they're current or past due. All this information helps formulate your credit score. Now, inquiries are items on your credit history where you've gone to apply for credit. So let's say you apply for a credit card. They run your credit. That's an inquiry. Too many inquiries within a certain period of time can lower your credit score because it makes you look like you're searching for credit, and they hold that against you, bottom line. Unless it's, let's say you're looking to buy a house or a car, and usually with the buying a house, you get your credit done before you go out. So that's a poor example. I'll say buying a car, and you go to 3 or 4 different car agencies. You go one this week, you go one next week, you go 1 week after that. Well, all 3 of those inquiries from those car places will be on your credit report. But if you do them all within a week, and you go to 3 or 4 different, or even 5 different car places, it makes it seem like one inquiry, because they figured, I think, that it's just unfair that if you're trying to look to buy a car, that you shouldn't be dinged. But they think shopping for a better deal is not a good thing. So you have to be really careful about that. Collections accounts stay on your report from 7 years from the time the original account balance became past due. So let's say you had a MasterCard and it went into default January 1st, 2010. Well, if it's still on your credit report, it should be removed. But if it was on your report it first became past due on January 1st, 2015, you would have 2 more years to go before that dropped off your credit. Now, things that don't come off your credit, we're going to discuss ways of how to deal with that. But for right now, know that here's another little thing about collection accounts. Collection agencies try to be sneaky because the original debtor, the original MasterCard person, might have sold your debt, and they might have sold it 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So every time a new creditor purchased that debt, they try to make it seem like the first day is the day they got it, which extends that 7-year period. So you have to be really careful about that, because there's a lot of things that may be on your credit that should have been kicked off a long time ago. Other information that's on your credit history includes variation to your name. My name is Eunice Russell. I have a middle initial R. So Eunice R. Russell, Eunice Russell, those are variations, and all those would show up under my Social Security number. Same thing about my date of birth, my spouse's name. If I was married, my spouse, ex-spouse, you may even find them on my credit history. And it would go into this section under inquiries, collections, and others. In the identification and verifying section, this is where you would find your Social Security number and any variation of that. It used to be years ago that people would change a digit in their Social Security number, but the system caught up to that, and so any variation that they find or think that is yours, they will attach here. So you have to really review this section just in case there's something in there that doesn't belong to you. You want to take it out. You will also find any past due addresses and the number of times you used that address while applying for credit. And in some cases on your history, it will even tell whether you own or rent your home. Verifying information is information that you provide to a creditor. So that may include your home or business address, your telephone numbers, as well as your driver's license information. Now here we're going to get into disputes. You can dispute any item on your credit report. And by law, the credit reporting agency must investigate and get back to you within 30 days from the day that you file with them the results of their investigation. Now, your dispute must be in writing. And with that, you can submit supporting documents, like if you have something from the creditor that says the debt is paid off or something of that nature. However, the credit reporting agency will not act like a court of law, and they will not balance evidence to say whether something is true or false or anything of that nature. So you'd have to go to court to get a court determination if there is no clear evidence that you don't owe this debt and you believe that you don't. Here, if the CRA, if the credit reporting agency is unable to verify the debt within 30 days from the date you disputed it, they've either got to come back to you and clean the report, or if they find that the debt is yours, they've got to come back to you and tell you, they found the information and it's going to stay on. So you have to receive a revised copy of your credit report with whatever corrected information. Now, if you don't agree with the outcome, if, let's say, for instance, you believe you've paid this debt off and the credit reporting agency, and let's say the original debt was sold to another agency, but you have a receipt that says you paid the original debt to the original agency. That's information you can send to the credit reporting agency, but you can also put a 100-word or less statement that they have to attach, so that when you see that debt on the credit report, there'll be a little paragraph under there for you to explain that this debt was paid off on this date by this, reflected by this receipt. This company does not own this debt. Or something of that nature, depending on on what you want to say. The other thing is, let's say that you got sick and you were between jobs, just like we've gone through the COVID virus quarantine. A lot of people lost their jobs and bills, they got behind on their bills, even though they've been regular all the way up to the front. So you can put 100-word statement on there. I lost my job due to COVID-19. I caught COVID. I was unable to go back to work. I'm still unable to work, but am trying to make arrangements with the creditors regarding this debt. Something to let the people know or to explain why this debt is on your credit history. There are only two ways you can to file a dispute with the credit reporting agency, either online or directly mailing it to the agency. To sum up everything that we've discussed, you must be told if information in your file has been used against you. By that, you've been denied credit because of something that's on your credit history. You have to be notified of that. You can always find out what's in your file. You're entitled to one free credit report per year. You're entitled to one free credit report from the agency that a creditor used to deny you credit. And other than that, you can purchase a copy of your credit report from the credit reporting agencies. You can dispute inaccurate information on your credit report or information you feel is inaccurate at any time. And access to your credit file is limited. And what that means is your employer can't go and look at your file unless you give them permission. But now most jobs do ask you for permission to have a copy of your credit history. I think it's a little bit far-fetched. You can't always tell a person by how they pay their bills, but to a degree you can. Sometimes people suffer losses or a loss of job. They go through illnesses. That's why that 100-word summary is so important, because it keeps people from labeling you as a deadbeat. And that's what they use credit histories for. So that's why they can deny you for renting an apartment, or charge you high interest rate if you're trying to get a mortgage or a credit card. So it's really important that you understand your credit and the credit reports and how to create a better credit history. Again, inaccurate information must be either corrected or deleted, and outdated information may not be reported. So let's say you had a credit card in 2010 that you defaulted on, and somebody bought that loan last year in 2019 and tried to put it on your credit report. They can't, because it's more than 20 years old. So older information can't be on your report. Or let's say you have a debt listed on your credit history that you defaulted on 20 years ago. Usually that information drops out, but sometimes things get missed. So it's important for you to always review your credit. And nowadays, with all of this identity theft, it's important to see what accounts are actually listed on your credit history, because there may be something on there that you didn't even open. And it's really important that you get that kind of information off of your credit report. And that takes, you have to file a police report and do some other things to take things off of your credit history that were fraudulently put on there. So your consent is required for your employers or anyone you're trying to obtain credit from to get a copy of your credit report or your medical information. You may choose to exclude your name from the credit reporting agency's list for unsolicited credit. Now, those are those letters you get in the mail that say you've been pre-approved for a car loan, you've been pre-approved for a credit card loan. You don't want any of that. And if you don't want any of that, you just contact the credit reporting agency and ask them to remove your name from that list. Now, everything you need to know is in this PowerPoint. Everything is under the Federal Fair Credit Reporting Act. But I have a book that's 99 cents. It has copies of the sample letters sample statements. It has the address to the credit reporting agencies, as well as their phone numbers. It has everything that we discussed in here is in that. In this PowerPoint is in the book. So please get a copy. 99 cents isn't a lot. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The How To DoRu, where we're going to show you how to get it done. So for more information, go to www.howtodoru.com, and please subscribe to my channel, The How To DoRu. Thank you very much. God bless.